Rajeshwari MJ. She pursued her BE in Electrical and Electronics at the People's Education Society College of Engineering, Mandya. She pursued her MTech in VLSI Design and Embedded Systems at the Sri Jagadguru Balagangadharanta Institute of Technology, Bangalore. Her personal skills lie in good verbal and written communication skills. Her areas of interest lie in OOPS with C++, renewable energy sources, HVDC transmission, digital relays, automotive electronics, advances in VLSI design. She has also had papers presented at the national level, such as the Innovative Architecture for SoC Multi-Core Hybrid Processor, presented at the RNSIT, Bangalore.
Welcome to UGC lecture series of BSc Physics Honours. Today we are dealing with the subject digital electronics. And some of the topics that we already covered in the digital electronics are the fundamental of digital electronics and the Boolean algebra, and also we covered arithmetic circuits. Now we are moving towards the data processing circuits and memories. In this session we are going to deal with the data processing circuits and memories. The topics that we are going to study today are multiplexers, encoders, demultiplexers, decoders, read-only memories. In the read-only memories, we are going to deal with about read-only memories and also programmable read-only memory, PROM and EPROM. So, let us start with the very first topic, multiplexer. So, multiplexer, also known as, it is called as a data selector and is a combination circuit with more than one input line and one output line and more than one selection line. There will be more than one input line, but the output will be only one, and also the selection line also will be more than one. So, here we can say that the output will be the multiples of input, selecting the inputs, that is why it is called as multiplexer. So, the input will be having a multiple inputs, the output will be only one output. A multiplexer selects binary information present on any one of the input lines depending upon the logic status of the selection inputs and routes it to the output line. So, whatever the output is producing from the input, that will going to purely depend on the selection input status. So, if it is having a different selection input, means the different input will be routed towards the routed to the output. So, that will going to be the output of a particular selection status. So, the whatever the inputs that we are getting from the output, that is the input is routing to the output, depends on the selection input status. If there are n selected lines, then the number of maximum possible input lines is 2 power n, and the multiplexer is referred to as 2 power n to 1 multiplexer or 2 power n by 1 multiplexer. That is, if the selection input lines will be 2, in the sense 2 power 2 is equal to 4, 4 minus 4 will be the input lines. So, 4 possible input will be given for this 2 selection input. So, if the selection input 2 means the input lines that we can able to give is 4. So, for such multiplexer we called as 4 to 1 mux. Next, in the picture, that is what we already said, 4 to 1 mux is visible. 4 to 1 multiplexer and its truth table we can able to see here. Here we have a selection input of 2 x1 and x0. So, 2 power n is equal to 4 inputs we can give to the mux, and we are going to get only one output. The truth table for the 4 to 1 mux is x1 x0 will be the selection line. For this combination of input, if it is 0 0, I 0, the input 0 will be the output. This will going to route to the output. So, I 0 will be the output, I 0 will be the output. For this combination of selection input like 0 1, I 1 will be the output. Similarly, for 1 0, I 2 will be the output. For 1 1 selection input, I 3 will be the output. Next, we consider the complex mux like 8 to 1 mux. If it is having 8 input lines and having only one output, that is called as 8 input mux. So, here we have 8 input lines from D0 to D7 and also A, B, C. These are the selection line. From this we can able to know that because 2 power 3 that gives 8. So, 8 will be the input lines. So, G here represent the enable. So, this enable signal is important here. This enable input signal will going to help us to make the multiplexer in a circuit to perform or not. So, the performance of a multiplexer will depend on this G bar, that is enable input signal. If it is high, we were going to make use of the multiplexer circuit in a complex circuit, and this will going to help us the multiplexer performance. So, this enable signal will make us to use the multiplexer performance. So, A, B, C will be the selection input and D0 to D7 will be the input and Y and W will be the outputs. This is a complementary output, this is a Y will be the output. So, G bar, that what I already said, that is the enable input. This will be the truth table for this. If a G bar is high, we will get a don't care. If input will be, the selection will be of no don't care, then output will be low, and if the enable is low. So, for possible active low input or low enable only the circuit works. So, for low A, B, C low means the output will be D0, for low and high the output will be D1. So, for all active low enable the output we are going to get from the 8 to 1 mux. So, next we consider another example that is 2 to 1 mux, and also we are able to implement the 2 to 1 with the logical gates here. So, what is the truth table for this is S and Y. So, S will be having only one selection input, that is only S will be there. There is two possible combination, that is 0 and 1. For if it is 0, I0 will be selected, and if it is 1, the selection input is 1, I1 be selected, that will be the output. For this 2, for the Y output Y, what will be the combinations and what will the logic gates, that will be represented with the help of gates. So, I1 is equal to I1 and S and I1 is will be the AND gate, and this will be the OR gate. So, I1 is given to the AND gate, and this input of S bar is given to the I0. So, S bar will given to the I0 and S is given to the I1, because here 0 is considered as S bar. So, S bar is given to the I0 and S is given to the I1. So, this will be ANDed, and the output from the AND gate is given to the OR gate, so that we will get I0 and I1 for a particular operation. So, next we move on to the same thing, 2 to 1 multiplexer with an enable input. If the same thing we are going to have considered, the previously we have not considered the enable input here, but here if we consider the enable input, we will get a accurate results in the output, there will be no overflow anything. So, for the enable input, the enable input has to be given for the both AND gate. If it is 0, the multiplexer does not operate. When in the enable signal is 1, the multiplexer starts operating. So, if it is 0 and 1, the I0, that is I1 will be the output. So, if it is 0 and 1, the I0 will be the output, Y is equal to I0, and if it is 1 and 1, S is equal to 1 and enable is equal to 1, the output will be I1. Next we move on to the important things that using a multiplexer we can able to construct one more circuit, that is called as encoders. An encoder is a multiplexer without its single output line. So, main important thing that we studied with the mix is it is having only one output and it is having 2 or more selection input or 2 or more or 1 or more input lines. But if it is having 1 or more output lines, that will going to consider as an encoders. So, it is a combinational logic function that has 2 power n input lines and n output lines, which corresponds to n selection lines in a multiplexer. So, if the n selection line will be there, then 2 power n will be the input and n output will be there. So, the number of selection lines will going to depend on the input and output also. So, the n selection line will be there means n output will be there, 2 power n input lines will be there in an encoder. So, in the circuit we can able to find the how we are going to generate binary code from the octal. Now, octal to binary encoder, what we are going to represent here in the gates implementation. So, here we are inputting the octal number into a OR gate, so that we are able to get a binary numbers A, B, C will be the binary digits. So, this is how it works. With the help of truth table we can able to find if D0 is equal to 1 and all other will be 0, then A, B, C will be 0. Similarly, if D1 will be 1 and all other will be 0, then A, B, C will be high, and similarly D2 will be high and all other will be 0 in the sense, then A, B, C, only B will be high and A, C will be low. The same thing will follow for 1, 2, 3, this is 1 decimal, 1 decimal, 2 decimal, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is how we will get conversion of octal to binary can be done with the help of encoder. Next we move on to another important circuit, that is demultiplexer. It is a combination logic circuit with an input line, 2 power n output lines and n select lines. So, this is converse of mux. So, it has 2 power n output lines and only one input line will be there and the selection line will be n. N selection will be line there and the 2 power n will be the output line and only one input line will be there. So, it routes the information present on the input line to any of the output lines. So, this is the output line will going to routes to any one of the output lines in which will going to perform the output and input operation. So, the output line that gets the information present on the input line is decided by this bit status. So, the input is routing to the output, that is decided only with the help of this selection status. So, this selection status will going to helps us when routing of input and output. So, if we consider in the truth table that if it is all the input is high and the selection combination will be like this, if 0 0 will be there, then D0 will be high, always high, and for the combination 0 1, for this combination D1 will be high, and for combination 1 0 D2 will be high, and the for combination 1 1 D3 will be high. This is how we are able to route input to output. Next, another important circuit that we can construct with the help of demux, that is decoder. A decoder is a special case of demultiplexers without the input line. So, if there is no input line, that case we can consider it as an demultiplexer. A decoder, as mentioned earlier, is a combinational circuit that decodes the information on n input lines to a maximum of 2 power n unique outputs. So, here n input lines will be there and it has 2 power n unique output lines will be there. That is why it is called as 2 to 4 decoder, and here also we can consider it is having 3 input lines and 8 output, that is 2 power n, that is 8 output lines. Here it is having 4 input lines and this will be going to give 16 output lines. This is how the decoders will be constructed, and here we need to make sure the difference between the decoder and demux is there will be no, it does not decoder does not have a input line, only selection line we consider. That is what the decoder is a special case of a demultiplexer that which do not have a input line. Next we come to our memory types. So, in memory types, the very first thing that we are going to discuss is read only memory. In a read only memory is what, in a sense, is a data storage device. Usually it is written into ones. So, once if we return into a read only memory, it will not be erased and it will not be rewritten. It only read, just we can read it and it cannot be rewritten. That is why it is called read only memory, and it can be it is an essentially is a lookup table. What we can do means every time we can go and fetch the data from this read only memory. For a reference we can always look into this kind of lookup tables for particular operation or some process in a processor. So, this can be act as a lookup table where a group of input lines, it may be n, is used to specify the address of locations holding m bit data words. So, if we want to know about the memory, about how the address of a location, if we want to know some particular data location, that data location can be located in this memory, and if we need it in a particular time means we can go and fetch that address which is of m bit, which can be able to easily specify the location address. For example, if n is equal to 4, then the ROM has 2 power 4, that is 16 possible locations will be there. So, that we can able to store 16 possible location, and also 16 possible locations in the sense that is the address of a location. So, this address may be of how many bit, that will decided by m. If m is equal to 4, then each location can store a 4 bit word. So, 16 location will be there, that is if n is equal to 4 means 16 possible locations will be there in a ROM. So, in 16 possible location, how many bits of data can be filled in, that decided by this m. M is equal to 4, then each location can store 4 bit word. So, 4 bit word can be stored in a 16 boxes. If we consider it as a 16 box, and if in each box we can store 4 bit words, the total number of bits stored in is m into 2 power n can be stored, that is m is equal to 4 2 power 4, then that is equal to 64 bit. This is how a simple calculation of knowing how many number of bits can be stored in a ROM. This can be easily find out with the help of this formula m into 2 power n. This is gives to 64, which will be an example for very small ROM. This is how we are going to calculate how many number of bits can a ROM can store. Now, next will be the example of read only memory. So, this can be designed amounts to putting mean terms in the appropriate address location. So, we are consider the mean terms here, that is the sum of product terms can be stored in a appropriate location. So, no logic simplification is required here. Useful if multiple Boolean functions are to be implemented. Examples, in this case we can easily do up to 4, that is 1 for each output line. So, here we can implement up to 4 terms, that is here we consider 1, wherever the 1 is considered, 1 is taken, that will be considered as a mean term appropriate function. So, this will be the appropriate function, whenever f is equal to 1, that will be considered as a appropriate function. So, reasonably this will going to efficient if lots of mean terms need to be generated. So, whenever we want to generate lots of mean term, this kind of method will be used where the address of a decimal number is 0. If it is the address will be 0, in the sense this will be the inputs, this will be x, y, z will be the inputs for this. If it is 0, 0, 0, the function will be f, and the data that can be fetched is this will be the data, that is don't care, that is D0, only D0 we will get 1. Similarly, for decimal address, for address that is location 1, this will be the input like 0, 0, 1, and with the function input is also 1, we will get the data output, that is 1 in the D0 position. This is how we can able to fetch the data from read only memory. Next, how we are going to implement the random access read only memory. So, it can be quite inefficient, that is become large in size with only a few non-zero entries. So, if the number of mean terms in the function to be implemented is quite small, so the device which can overcome these problems are known as programmable array logics. So, if we want to store a very less number of bits in the read only memory, means it is quite difficult. So, to overcome this kind of situation, we are going to use a programmable array logic method to store the bits. In programmable array logic system, only the required mean terms are generated using a separate AND plane. So, whatever the mean term that we are needed to store in a ROM, that can be generated with the help of AND. The outputs from this plane are ORed together in a separate OR plane to produce the final output, that is what sum of product, right. So, first it is added and after that all this AND plane is connected to the OR plane to get the final output. This is how it can be implemented, like first plane will be the AND plane where we get the ANDed output. This ANDed output is finally connected to the different OR output where we get the different terms, different mean terms like F0, F1, F2. These are the different terms we get at the output, and these are the inputs with the complementary inputs also we can select here, and this can be given to the AND plane where we get the ANDed output. Since with the mean term will be the sum of products, so this ANDed outputs will be OR in a OR plane, so that we can able to get different terms, and also programmed by selectively removing connections in the AND and OR planes controlled by fuses or memory bits. That whatever the program that we are going to selective or removing here in the AND or OR operation, that will be performed by fuses, by the control of fuses or memory bits will be used here. Next that is the PROM and EPROM. A PROM and EPROM are the two types of ROM, that one is programmable read only memory. Here once it is programmed, in the sense we are not able to change anything, that also becomes like a lookup table, only we can go and look into it, and or we can able to fetch the address locations from a particular input, so that we can able to know the address of a particular location. So, this can be used in an advanced way of read only memory. And next thing will be electrically programmable read only memory. This is another type we can program, that is we can able to electrically program the ROM with the help of electric signals we can give, so that we can able to program the random read only memory, and this read only memory will also have the memory address locations, and this address location can be easily fetched with the help of different circuits and input signals. So, that and this electrically programmable random read only memory will be helpful in advanced stages. Next we come to the end of the session. Let us have a quick summary that whatever what we discussed in this session is very first thing is about the MUX. MUX is a data selector, and it is one of the type of combinational circuit with more than one input and having only one output with one or more select inputs. And next we come to encoder. It is a special circuit that is designed with the help of multiplexer, and here in encoder it does not have a single output line, because it has more than one output. That is what the difference between MUX and encoder. Next we come to the DMUX. DMUX is also a combination logic circuit with an input with only one input line and 2 power n lines of output and only n select inputs. And in the demultiplexer, next we come to the decoders. Decoders are the special circuit that is designed with the help of DMUX. Here it is having it does not have any input lines in it, which can be designed with the help of DMUX. Next finally we come across read only memory applications and also it uses, and also we discussed about the implementations with the AND plane and OR plane, and also we able to know the how to calculate the number of bits in a read only memory can be found out with the help of formula, that is M into 2 power n, that is m is equal to number of bits can be stored and n is equal to number of inputs given. So, m into 2 power n will going to give the number of bits. The questions of this session is, what is a multiplexer? How do you implement 8 to 1 mux? Mention the difference between mux and demux. What is an encoder? Explain the memory device ROM and its implementation. References are talkingelectronics.com. Book references are Digital Fundamentals by Thomas L. Floyd, Digital Electronics by R. P. Jain. This ends the session. Thank you.